Shit, Gon should have just said YOLO at the beginning of this episode, because that's the way he was rolling. Alright, so this episode, for the most part, I thought it was so kick-ass, and I thought that the fight was done crazily, and I thought it was, really kick-ass. But I do have a gripe with it, and I'll get to that in a bit. So, Gon versus Genthru, the final fight, between them and whatnot. I thought it was done nicely. I thought it was crazy how messed up Gon was. Like, Gon looked like he took such an ass whooping, swollen eye, all messed up and everything. And in all honesty, I honestly didn't know how this was going to go. Maybe I thought Genthru might beat him, and then, Kitawa and Bisky might have to jump in and save him. So I didn't really know what to expect with this episode. And the way it was done, for the most part, I felt like, holy shit. Like I said in a previous review, that I feel as though Gon is selfish. And yeah, there's other characters that are like that, but the way he went in this episode really kind of like opened my eyes. Like, Gon definitely is different. Like, when Genthru said, I surrender, he didn't even care. He was like, I don't care. And while another main character like a Goku or, one of those type of characters, a Naruto, they would have stopped. Gon didn't give a shit. He went YOLO and just took him out. Now, here's one of the things about the episode. One of the things I want to focus on anyway. Gon losing his arm and getting his wrist damage and everything. When that first happened, I was just like, what's going on? This is freaking incredible. This is crazy. Like, holy shit. A main showing character losing his arm. And I was, just in disbelief and everything. And it was crazy. Manly. I guess that's the best word to put it. Manly. But when he got his arm back, like, 5 minutes later, I felt a little bit betrayed there, because it was like, it makes perfect sense, don't get me wrong. It made perfect sense. It was like, the reason he got it was because of the breath of Archangel, I believe, that heals and everything. So it made sense in that aspect. But I still felt like this should have been, the way Togashi structured it, he should have structured it so that, yeah, he'll get his arm back, but in due time, and he'll have to suffer the consequences of what he just did, because he just basically YOLO'd it once again and said, screw my arm, screw my wrist, I'm kicking his ass, I'm sorry, I'm being selfish right now. And he should have suffered the consequences more than just, 5 minutes later, got my arm back, so yeah, I'm going to do that again. I felt like he should have took more from this than getting his arm back in a few minutes. That's one of my only problems with this episode, is that I felt like maybe there should have been a time period in between where he gets his arm back. Maybe they would have said, no, you can only use Breath of Archangel when Greed Island is officially over, so that we would have had a little bit more time before he got it back, because I feel like he should have learned a lesson. You can't just, like, sacrifice your arm and everything just because you want to be selfish when you don't really have to. That's something that I felt was a little bit something I didn't really care for too much. It just felt like he should have learned something from being selfish, and he didn't, because he got his arm back. So we'll just have to wait and see. I guess you can say that losing his arm in and of itself was a punishment, but if he got it 5 minutes back, then what really punishment is that? It's like going in timeout and, within like a minute, hey, come back over here. You don't got to be in timeout. That's just my opinion on that. What do you guys think, though? Am I looking at it in a way that maybe, because, obviously a lot of you guys read it, I don't. Does he suffer something else even further later down the road where he deals with this? Because I can definitely see him going through a lot more. Now that I understand Gon's character more, and how he just will do anything because he wants to do it his way, and he's going to be selfish, I can see him going through some tough times in the future. I can see Gon really going through it, because he just said, you only live once, I'm throwing my arm away. So I could clearly see him going through the ringer in future events to come. Greed Island is wrapping up. Can't wait for Chimera and Arc. I just heard so many good things, so I'm really excited for Chimera. But this episode overall, really nicely done. Awesome battle. Going for the freaking win. I may have a problem with the character, with what he does in his selfish ways, to the fact, but it's to an extent, because I do think that still he's doing some epic shit. He took out the bomber, and overall he's going to progress even further. So I like that this battle really helped to progress his powers, but just the thing of, he should have learned a little bit more of a lesson than ultimately he did, because maybe it was sped up or something. Maybe they did like too much content or skipped some stuff to where it seemed like that. But for me personally, it felt like he got his arm back too soon. But Gon kicked the bomber's ass. He kicked the bomber's ass, and that was for the most part what this episode was about, and it was pretty freaking awesome. I'm not gonna lie, that was a pretty freaking awesome fight. Probably I want to say one of the best Hunter x Hunter fights, because Gon just went all out and he didn't even care at the end, which really just separates him from the rest. Let me know what you think, though. Do you think that he got his arm back too quick? And also, if you were a manga reader, was there maybe something that they took out or something? That's why it felt so sudden that he got it back, like within 5 minutes? Or was it just that's the way it was? And your whole take on the whole thing of this battle, because I think it was done nicely. Everything was done very well, except that one part. That's the only thing I have a gripe with. But let me know what you think. That's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Thumbs up for YOLOing it, because apparently Gon likes to, and it turns into some epic stuff sometimes. So, hey, out for that world, and as always, people, have an awesome day.